Yes, my name is Ryan Braund. I am the writer, director, and animator of Absolute Denial, which is in competition for Best Feature at VAF Animation Festival.
Okay, well, the first question was about that your film is a sci-fi thriller about this programmer sacrificing, his personal life and his professional life, building up this supercomputer. How did you come up with the idea of the film, and why did you want to tell this story?
The idea came from this concept that I thought was fascinating, was that the human mind can be hacked in the same way that a computer can be hacked. And I started to think about how interesting that battle of two minds could be, in terms of one manipulating the other, and how that might unfold. And I thought it could turn into quite a interesting thriller, thriller/drama. And the reason I wanted to tell that story is because I have struggled with my own personal mental health issues in the past, and even now, currently a little bit. And it felt like a great opportunity to explore or write about the vulnerabilities of the human mind, and these cognitive faults that we may have, and issues that a lot of people are dealing with every day. And like the character in the film, David, I have also dealt with anxiety and paranoia, and I'm a little bit of a recluse. So it felt very personal to me, and I thought it'd be interesting to put that on screen.
Yeah. Is it your first film, actually?
It's my first feature film. Yes.
Feature film. Yeah. But then it's quite an accomplishment, doing it on your own. Also, everything. That's kind of.
It's interesting because I have wanted to make a feature film for a very long time. I used to make short films when I was a lot younger, and they did quite well, but I'd always wanted to make a feature. And I tried many times and failed for various reasons. And it started to I started to doubt myself as a filmmaker. So I took a break for a while, and then for a couple of years, actually. And then I came back to this script that I'd started to write, and I thought there may be something interesting there. And I thought, if I don't do it now, I never will, and I'll regret it. So I just thought, right, I quit my job, and I just said to myself, right, don't get anyone else involved, because then there's nobody else to let down. Just do it yourself. And I locked myself away for 9 months. And for the first 3 months, I was animating 10 hours a day, 7 days a week. And for the last 6 months, it's about 6 days a week, 10 hours a day. So it was intense. Yeah.
Yeah. But did you get any kind of help or guidance during the process, or reflection of what you have been making? Or was it just you sitting on your own doing it all?
Yeah. It was just me, really. It helped having the first step was to have all the dialogue recorded. So I hired the voice actors to do all that, and then I cut the dialogue I had into a timeline to give me an idea of how the film might, flow, what the pacing was like. And that really helped, because there were some lines of dialogue that I thought were fantastic, but actually they didn't. When you hear it back, it just didn't work.
Yeah.
And the pacing was off in some parts as well. So that really helped to shape the film. But in terms of having an outside feedback from other people, not really. No, that's why it feels like such a personal film to me, because it's purely just my own expression. And then at the very end, when the film was finished, Chris Hees, the other producer, came on board, and I had no experience in distribution or submitting to film festivals, and or getting a sales agent, anything like that. So I needed his expertise on board, and he really helped a lot. Yeah, he really pushed the film to where it is today.
Yeah, yeah. But as you say, that this is a personal story in a way, because it has different levels in the story. But do you have any knowledge about those, working with supercomputers? Because there is kind of two stories in the story. There's this personal story about dealing with your own thoughts, but also the whole situation we are living in today, actually, with supercomputers, and the digital world is taking more and more over, and actually kind of guiding us through our lives. Do you have any experience or working with that, and why that subject?
Yeah, that's a good question, actually. I know nothing about programming and coding, and I'm sure that probably shows in parts of the film. But I did have to do a lot of research, just because the dialogue had to sound believable, and the audience needed to know that David was intelligent and he knows what he's talking about. So I had to do loads and loads of research. But you're right. The main focus of the film for me was to explore the vulnerabilities of the human mind, and I thought this sci-fi setting kind of helped facilitate that. And it kind of heightened the loneliness that David was going through. It was an inner conflict for him, and I think, as you say, that as the world becomes more and more digital, and people are spending more and more time online, they are becoming, possibly, I can only speak for myself, but I'm becoming less introspective, and maybe I'm more concerned about my online persona rather than my spending time with other people, and I become reclusive because of that. And I miss some red flags regarding my own mental health, because I'm not reflecting inwards enough. So it really complemented the whole narrative. Yes.
Yeah. But I think actually it's super nice to put this very personal story into this story about our digital world, because it does reflect on each other in a way, or has a it kind of involve us in both ways.
Well, that's why I love science fiction, because it is fantastical, and it gives you so many tools to explore philosophical questions. It's quite difficult to do that with other genres. So that's why I love science fiction, and I like films that are exciting and visually very nice to look at, but also films that you can come away from and feel like maybe you learned something, or maybe you had maybe it haunts you for a while, and you think about it for a while afterwards. That's what I was trying to achieve. I hope I got somewhere close to that.
Yeah. No, but and I think you do, because you actually, and I think that is pretty nice with the film also, that you only have this one character. We don't meet his friends. We only hear them on the phone. We have the feeling that there is, a family or friend, in his life. But it's actually really nice that we don't meet them. So it's so intense. Also, that it's actually working, that you are only in the same place almost. That's actually really. Really nice that it succeeds that way, I think. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And I know that a few people have told me, mainly when they're after reading the script, that they found that in the first act, and possibly into the second act as well, they found that that isolation quite jarring, because it's not a typical format for a film. You have subplots, and you see other characters and interaction.
Yeah.
Whereas if you stick with the film, by the third act, you realize why it's structured like that.
Yeah.
It helps to bring it, the film all together again.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a bit of an experiment, but I think it paid off.
Yes, well. if we talk about how you actually, can you tell us a little bit more about how the production have been, and what kind of material and techniques have you been using during this animation? And again, was it just something you kind of jumped into and tried out, or did you have some kind of experience before?
That's a good question. Actually, I did sort of jump in, and I paid the price really for that, because the more I animated in that style, the better I became, the better the technique became, which resulted in me having to go back and reanimate whole scenes because the quality difference was so huge. But in terms of creating a hand-drawn 2D animated film, that is always something that I aimed to try and achieve. Just because I love animation that's imperfect. I like to see sketchy pencil drawings. I think I love to see the artist's paintbrush stroke, or a thumbprint in clay stop motion. For me, it creates a stronger connection between audience and artist. And I think the audience has a more personal experience when they feel that touch.
But when you say that it's hand drawn, so you've done it on iPad with a pen, or using TV Paint, or what kind of program?
It was all very, very basic stuff. Yeah, you're correct. It was. I used a stylus on an iPad, quite an old iPad. And I used an app called Bamboo Paper, which was it's not really designed for animating. I'm not quite sure what I was thinking. And I'm sure it probably made my job even harder. But I just got used to working in that way, and I thought it's quicker for me just to carry on rather than start learning a different application. So yeah, it's all hand drawn, but it's digital. Yes, it's all digital.
Nice, but I think it sounds still so crazy that you kind of done it all on your own. It must have taken you hours, and doing this all by yourself. But that's nice. Yeah. Do you still want to do that?
Do I want to do it again?
Yeah.
I am going to do it again. Yes, we're already. Chris and I are already discussing the next project. We will have a much bigger budget, which we are very, very close to securing. So we will bring people on maybe towards the end of production, just to clean up some of the animation. But for the most part, it will be me animating again. But I'm going to be doing it over the course of 2 years. So the next film is going to be a lot bigger and a lot better, and it's going to be so fantastic. I can't wait. I really can't wait. Yeah, it's going to be really good.
Yeah. But is that why do you want to do it on your own so much? Why don't you want to have a team? Is that you kind of feel that you will be missing something personal, or is just because you think you kind of like that way to work?
I do like that way to work, but I think the main reason is because I still feel like a newcomer and an independent filmmaker, and to go from making something like Absolute Denial on my own to suddenly having a huge team of animators is quite, that'd be quite overwhelming. So for the next film, just to have a little bit of help and a bigger budget feels like a logical next step.
Yeah.
And then maybe one day I can work my way up to having a full team. That would be fantastic. Yeah.
Oh, that's good to hear in a way. And already, are we still in the sci-fi theme, or for the new one?
Yes, it's a sci-fi action thriller. Yes.
Yeah.
And it's going to be the same technique, because it's actually rotoscoped, which helps me a lot because it's a very fast way to animate.
Yeah.
So it'll be the same technique, but possibly with splashes of color in the next one.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's as much as we have so far. It's in very, very early stages.
But I look forward to follow the project. If you go back to the film and the visual design of it, you talked a little bit about it, that you would like to have this kind of, again, this personal touch, that you can actually see how the animator has been drawing and, you know, working hard to get this film working and telling the story that would like to tell. But what kind of ideas and thoughts did you have about the visual design, and why did you end up choosing this black and white, gray design of it?
Black and white was because I love playing with light and shadow, and you know, I've always loved watching film noir, and I just like the graphic novel quality to it. And I thought also it actually quite complemented the narrative, you know, the binary nature of, you know, black and white. And that also leaked over into the idea of having traditional animation, or using traditional animation to tell quite a contemporary science fiction story. I thought that was a really nice juxtaposition. And I think it kind of complemented the idea of an artificial mind versus a biological mind, you know, and that's a theme that I was trying to keep throughout the whole production, and the aesthetic as well.
Our festival is placed at the animation workshop in Viborg, which is an animation or education for animators. And if you could give them advice to young filmmakers who want to do something on their own, you know, from your experience of just making your own animation film, what should that be?
Ooh, I kind of hinted at it before, that, you know, it doesn't matter if you fail time and time again. It doesn't necessarily mean you're a bad filmmaker. It may just mean that it's not the right time, or it's not the right project. And actually, looking back, all those times that I did fail, it was just one big learning curve to prepare me for when, you know, everything clicked into place. So I'd just say, yeah, just keep going. Just have faith in your own work, and just keep trying. Because it's been, I feel waves of imposter syndrome, you know, because people are messaging me saying how much they love watching this film, and it just feels, it's amazing to me that people are enjoying watching something that I just made on my own in a small room, you know, in the UK. And you never know what's going to connect with an audience, so just try it and see what happens. Yeah.
Well, I think actually that was it then.